best. Americans know best. We love explaining what's best for you, even if we ain't got no clue. Amerispaining with Walter. Hey!
Welcome to Amerispaining with Walter. And I'm your host, broadcast legend Walter Brohahahaha. Remember the old schoolyard game Paper, Rock, Scissors? A pickup game played by two players casting their hands while together chanting, Paper, Rock, Scissors on scissors. They simultaneously form either a flat palm paper, a closed fist rock, or a two-fingered pair of scissors. It's designed so that each one of the weapons, if you want to call them that, can only defeat one of the other two. Paper smothers rock, rock dulls scissors, and scissors cuts paper. So there's always a clear winner unless they flash the same symbols, which means a tie. No need for costly equipment or playing field. Just a simple game with simple rules, typical of the times. But times have changed, the players have changed, and sadly the rules have changed. You might be tempted to think that this episode is going to be a lighthearted stroll down memory lane. But no! We're going to have a serious talk about funnels. So here I am, sitting in my comfy chair, on my comfy veranda, at my comfy cabin, beside my comfy lake just outside of Chagrin Falls, North Dakota. No cocktails today, just a glass of fresh squeezed pressed apple cider. And it's getting damn cold, so this will be the last outside episode. A quick shout out to Chile, thanks for the comment. Good points all. And please hang in for this episode's tangentially, relevant piece of musical satire. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You have no idea how much this means to me. So, lately I've been spending some quiet time enjoying the last gasp of good weather, chewing on famous quotes from top-notch A-list founding fathers, while at the same time musing upon the present state of American democracy. Maybe this is the shallow intellectual podcast fodder I've been looking for. Perfect subject matter for the 10th episode of Amerispaining with Walter. A reasonable question to ponder, I think, because the more I chewed, in my mind's eye, I saw swirling images of A-list founding father Benjamin Franklin using something that looked like a funnel typically found on aisle 17 at Walmart. But in this swirling image, he was using the funnel from aisle 17 to carefully pour pig slop into a bottomless cider jug. And while he was doing it, he kept repeating one of his famous quotes, "Sell not virtue to purchase wealth, nor liberty to purchase power." Over and over and over and over again. It was then that I knew it was time to lay off the gummies. So, sell not virtue to purchase wealth, nor liberty to purchase power is for sure, in my opinion, the perfect slogan for imperfect times like these. Then it hit me that maybe it was the funnel that held a hidden meaning. Oh no, a hidden meaning. So then I rushed inside, rooted around the kitchen looking for my funnel, until I remember that the last time I used it was to change the oil in the lawnmower about half a life ago. One Walter wife year is about 5 human years. Well, at least it feels that long. So I rooted around the garage till I found it, cleaned it up, and set it down on my comfortable veranda railing, with me staring at it, waiting for a visit from the great idea gods. I used to do this way back when, sitting in my crappy office, sitting in front of a worn-out manual typewriter, staring at a piece of blank paper, usually about 52 minutes before air, as I struggle to write one of my broadcast-ending editorial monologues that I'm sure many of you remember. So staring at the funnel, eyes trance-like, slipping ever so slowly in and out of focus, the birds stopped chirping. The birds stopped chirping. The wind died. The universe paused, and golden silence prevailed. Golden silence prevailed. Then, after a weariness I had not experienced since the dog days of the Iran-Contra hearing set in, by golly, if the great idea gods didn't come to my rescue yet again. Their presence made known when my landline wall phone started ringing. A landline wall phone I had canceled years ago. Was that weird? Yes. I immediately snapped out of it and answered. Another worldly voice told me to write this down. So I got out the stone tablets and started chiseling. And he doth saith, the funnel is a metaphor representing the severe bottlenecks that choke our political system, making your democracy less democratic, which in our opinion, by the way, is going down the toilet. Just ask Ben Franklin. I could go on for hours and hours and hours and hours without running out of examples of the way that certain procedures are... Well, Jesus H. Matilda, I had enough of that. I laid the hammer and chisel down, and having found my inspiration, returned to writing. So, let's call it the funnel effect. Here's an example. When the Senate's in session, there's a large maze of complex procedural rules and traditions that must be navigated before legislation or Senate appointment approvals for judges and high-level bureaucrats, etc. can pass. However, it can be blocked over the objection of a single person intentionally pouring sand into the gears of government, creating a logjam, preventing lawmakers and or civil servants from moving the business of government forward. Friction, constriction, and restriction. The narrow end of the funnel, clogged by a single person. 99 say yes, 1 says no, means no. Capiche? Like an itty-bitty mouse leading an elephant around by the nose, and with impassioned speeches delivered to a mostly empty Senate chamber, the gauntlet is thrown. Done mostly for notoriety and political brownie points, until the pressures of governing the most powerful nation in the world forces the blockage at the funnel's bottom to be pooped out with a resounding splat. Only then does democracy flow again. And though most eventually fail, as did Ted Cruz's 2013 Obamacare funding filibuster that shut down the government for 16 days, victory was claimed, despite embarrassing defeat and insane levels of misery inflicted upon the nation. In the end, the former Yale debating champ changed nobody's mind. And as a matter of fact, when things calm down, party leadership usually tries to send the showboater back to puppy school. So you see how the funnel analogy works.
Amerispaining with Walter.
Welcome back. Here's another dumb but different example. I'm talking about Alabama Republican senior senator and fairly successful ex-college football coach Tommy Tuberville, who famously put holds on hundreds of top echelon military promotions, hobbling the effectiveness of the military, putting the nation in potential peril, and calling the senior generals desk jockeys. This from a guy with no military service whatsoever. In the end, after 10 months of even his own party talking to him till they were blue in the face, he finally released the hold, lowering everybody's opinion of football coaches in general, and Tommy Tuberville in particular. And apparently, puppy school was too woke for him because he got kicked out as untrainable. A variation of this tactic is the filibuster, where a senator will attempt to prevent a vote on legislation by standing up and speaking for hours on end to a mostly empty Senate chamber. Ah, Jesus H. Matilda. I can't continue with this. I'm sorry. I mean, who cares about a stupid ex-football coach doing stupid things that stupid MAGA crows don't think are stupid, but are stupid? Since I started working on this episode, so much has happened. So many news cycles that the whole topic has become a moving target. The shutdown happened, the snap halt, so enough, let's cut to the chase. Call a tractor, and understand that in the great game of democracy, we're probably at the bottom of the ninth, down 8 runs, with 2 outs, nobody on, and everyone thinks we should bunt. Oh my God. I'm going to skip over the absurdity of the House Speaker having the power to shut down his own chamber, one guy. Cabinet secretaries erasing herds of upper-level employees because they are not of Trump's political stripe, one person. Presidential executive stupid orders, one guy. Senate judicial appointments held up, one person. Presidential pardons granted to convicted felons that also allows them to escape any financial penalties levied as part of their conviction. Yeah, well, every president since George Washington has used this presidential power, but Donald Trump, he does things a little bit different. Mostly likes to pardon his political posse, business associates, and friends of friends, and no matter how obvious their guilt. With this president, they don't even have to ask. Recently, even dismantled the office of the pardon attorney so that he can limbo under the pretty low bar that already exists. Come to think of it, I wonder if he's ever issued any DEI pardons. You never hear about them. And let's not forget that whole Doge thing led by one guy. It seems like so long ago. The richest man in the world and a bunch of kids. The pain inflicted by the USAID shutdown alone will be felt at home and abroad for years. All achieved with the tacit approval of the spineless GOP members of Congress. All that pain and all that misery. Well, I guess that's the point, isn't it? But never fear, it gets worse. If the MAGA crows weren't eating up what the right-wing algorithm spoon-feeds them daily, the constant AI slop, the pundit slop, the White House press conference slop, they might think a bit differently. Here we go. The latest democracy index published by The Economist. That's snooty magazine for snooty people with lots of snooty assets. Pegs the U.S. way down the democracy list at number 28. And get this. Our political type is, in quotes, flawed democracy. A status we've enjoyed since 2016. Coincidence? I think not. And the biggest factor leading to the poor showing is the lousy score in the category of, wait for it, electoral process. I don't want to bore you with all the gory details that everyone's already familiar with concerning the fake electors and lawyers, eroding trust in our institutions, court cases lasting years, states suing the feds suing the states sue other states. Looky here. Using the federal courts as a funnel. And coincidentally, Trump just pardoned the fakers this week, including America's mayor, the other members of his incompetent legal team, which had little effect because most were convicted in state courts. Small victories. But please allow me to continue rambling. I'm going to steal a phrase from Jason Zeinerman's, don't know who the hell he is, New York Times review of an off-Broadway adaptation of Shakespeare's Richard II, describing the hapless king's constant misery wallow like a hippo in a mud bath. Self-pity is his happy place. Trump to a T. This guy, he just can't forget or forgive his perceived enemies. Ever. His skin is thinner than the outer layer of a French croissant. He's constantly confused about thinking he knows something about something he knows nothing about. It keeps the MAGA crows confused about what he actually knows, which is nothing. They don't know that he cares so little about them, or they can't accept it, that I could explain the funnel metaphor multiple times to a room full of MAGA crows and how it effectively illustrates the erosion of their freedoms. And to a man, they would simply say, Wake me up when the cows come home. So in the end, dear listener, I started out with good intentions. I strive to make a point, both relevant and topical, a rational observation of the weakening state of our democracy. But apparently I hitched my wagon to the wrong metaphor. And for that, I apologize. I'll do better next episode. My funnel's headed for the landfill. The landfill full of broken metaphor dreams. Yeah, the only metaphor you'll ever hear from me in the future will involve the Trump administration and a Cybertruck. Count on it. So I guess the real subject of this episode should be confusion and cruelty. Because that, too, is Donald Trump's happy place. Of the many famous quotes attributed to 18th century French philosopher and pastry chef Voltaire, this one's always been my favorite. England has 42 religions and 2 sauces. And I would like to reply to that little bit of intellectualism with that intellectualism that I intellectualized in the last episode, and that is this. It's not that we don't know what's real anymore. It's that we don't know what's important. So saith broadcast legend Walter Brohahahaha. 2025. A few episodes ago, you remember I divulged my love for really old 78 recordings from artists that weren't really necessarily famous, but had some kind of historic cachet. Recordings found by digging through boxes of crap at flea markets endlessly in hopes of finding a gem or two. I found a rare recording by vaudevillians Marty and Millie, way ahead of its time. They apparently influenced the Beatles, a rare find. So to introduce this episode's brilliant piece of musical satire, here's a fun fact. The Hammond organ was invented in the mid-30s. Musicians immediately loved it, using it in many styles of music, for which I'm sure you'll recognize the sound from like old radio soap operas and horror shows. The Shadow Knows. Ta-da! So, for years I've been looking for an old 78 from a fair to Midland gospel group called the Old Timey New Testamentalaires. Because this record is historically recognized as the first time a Hammond organ was used on a gospel record. So, singing their original 1937 composition, That Old Stone Church, we present Tennessee's favorite sons, the Old Timey New Testamentalaires. Fellas?
There's an old stone church near my daddy's old homestead. Been standing there proudly through good times and hell. Lovingly built by my daddy's grandpappy. Daddy's grandpappy's daddy liked ringing the bell. They used the huge rocks that the cows kept tripping over, squashing the hen house, turned chickens to goo. The walls they built strong, but the roof was all leaky. Folks wrastled each other to claim a dry pew. That old stone church kept us straight, kept us narrow. The choir sang like angels, they healed every limb. We cured all the gays just by praying to Jesus, and after he saved them again. They started broadcasting and asking donations, 'cause everyone knows that's the name of the game. time came for reckoning, they prayed hard to Jesus to stay out of jail. And so we waited and we watched while the whole mess imploded. That old stone church stood there forlorn and foreclosed. We got us to thinking about what Jesus taught us when he was dead and buried. On the third day he still rose. So we took out a mortgage and bought all the assets, formed a new corporation, tax sheltered the place. We left it to Jesus to throw out ideas that'd change that old church into a profitable space. It came in a vision full of color and glory. The clouds opened up and we heard Jesus talk. He suggested remodeling, a bit of new signage, and peace off the sheriff with counterfeit stuff. Now that old stone church is a meth lab. We prayed more to Jesus for his guiding hand. He said you got lots of parking, why not add on a crack house? There's lots of poor sinners in our blessed land. So keep praying for Jesus to show you the way, 'cause if you do it for Jesus, you know it's okay.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I especially like the comments about that son of a bitch, Blaine Selker, who apparently does all the voices, does all the scripting, does all the recording, writes and records the music, and pretty much rules the roost here. He was seriously late posting this episode because, as you can probably tell, it was about 18 news cycles ago that all this crap happened. But he's a real podcast puppet. It won't happen again. God, here comes that ice helicopter again.